delicious beverage?
Duh.
Preparing students to demonstrate mastery of math state standards can feel like a dull, unending cycle of equations and practice problems. Unengaged, frustrated students can weigh on teacher confidence and lead to uncertainty about overall achievement. 2 Ivy League-trained engineers observed this struggle and created a way to transform how students learn the fundamentals of math. Through the innovative Accoletics math program, EDA has helped more than 400,000 students achieve success on state-administered math tests and transformed the academic strategies and performance of schools nationwide. Accoletics' uniquely designed supplemental materials and tools are well aligned to your state standards and provide a clear path to exceed state proficiency standards. Through ongoing professional development, you will uncover common challenges and activate solutions that promise to improve student achievement in your school. By partnering with EDA and choosing Accoletics, you can start to see an unprecedented return on your investment in as little as 1 school year. Don't procrastinate on giving your teachers the tools to help students achieve their highest math potential. To learn how you can dramatically improve classroom instruction and learning, test scores, and student confidence, call, email, or visit Accoletics online today.
When daily tasks become too painful, it's time for change. Let our pain management and wellness practice, Valentine Integrative Health, elevate your quality of life and ease your discomfort. Visit us at valentineintegrativehealth.com and start your journey to a fuller life.
And welcome to the show. How are we doing?
Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day.
Happy hump day.
Yeah.
Good over a little bit, babe. Don't be afraid of me.
Ooh, I just took the nap of all naps, you guys. I'm waiting for my face to wake up, so I'm so sorry.
Babe,
but I'm
you are so beautiful. It doesn't matter.
You are very kind.
Look, we have look at the show there. Look at the little sheet you got there.
Oh shoot.
Oh,
we have a production sheet today.
Wait a minute. Yes.
Just like the old days. When we did our radio show together.
Okay, let me just say this, babe. We got a big show today. We got a lot going on. We got a lot of great content.
We got a really big show.
We got a really big show. We got some real good stuff. So sit down, go get a drink. I have coffee. Get you a drink. We're gonna have a nice show today.
Okay, well, let me tell you where you are. You are with Allison and Marc, and it's the Married in Media podcast. We are 2 media pros who have 3 grown kids, happen to have been in the business for 30 years. How many years for you?
Yeah, forever.
Forever years. And we talk about everything from pop culture to politics, family issues. Everything we talk about is based in a whole lot of love.
It's based on a whole lot of love. I'm actually sharing this link with, again, Mary. We've reconnected my college friend, reconnected. So, so again, excited about the show today. You just vanished, babe.
Okay.
We got a lot going on. And, babe, look, I typed out the show. Okay, this is what we're talking about, okay? In no particular order for those who just want to check in and check out. And in fact, everybody's not on. Actually, babe, sadly, we have some issues. We have, I was hacked on Facebook for those who are watching.
Let's talk about it.
So the Allison, your thing wasn't hacked, but maybe for security, they didn't allow us to stream from your location. So that big audience of 100,000 plus we don't have. And my account, which is still intact, they didn't allow it either. So now we have our LinkedIn people and our YouTube people. So shout out to you and also our Instagram people. Now,
so am I hacked as well?
I don't believe you're hacked. I just know we're just not. I think Facebook.
Did y'all hear that word? I don't believe
you're hacked. I think Facebook, to protect everything, eliminated us having access to our Facebook.
Okay. Well, let's talk about it anyway. For the one person who is joining us right now, we love and appreciate you.
Mm-hmm, definitely. Right. So, in no particular order, baby, run down what we got, okay?
Well, let's just get into it.
Oh, you like that?
Yeah.
All right. Well, first up, let's go to your sheet there. I put the heavy first, just so as to get it out of the way. You know what? Actually, the light first, because Carl with a K is standing by patiently.
Okay.
And Carl with a K is now joining us live. Carl with a K. What's up, Carl with a K?
Hey, you guys doing?
What's up, my brother?
I'm good. How things work out at HU?
We're still waiting on the money.
Oh, okay. We got a notice. Is it going to happen?
Yeah, we're still waiting on the money. So
okay. Well, fortunately for me, I found out it's happening at all universities.
Yeah.
That's the sad thing.
I know. And I think we mentioned it last time, but our baby Spencer's roommate affected just not going to be there this semester, because it doesn't have the funding. So it's a real issue, So we're in a space where you hear a lot about debt forgiveness from the administration. So, and then at the same time, though, where's the funding? So, say a prayer for all the kids. I hope you stay on track. Stay on track. So we're waiting. By this time next week, hopefully we'll have a better answer for you.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
Carl with the K. Carl, you working tonight?
Yes, I'll be at Arundel Mills tonight. I switched to Tuesday nights and Owings Mills at TGI Fridays. So I'll be at the TGI Fridays and Arundel Mills this evening. And I'll be next Tuesday, I will be back at the TGI Fridays in Owings Mills. So next week.
All the mills. He's the king of the mills.
He's at the mills, exactly. Owings and Arundel, right.
Okay. What you got today?
All right. Let's start with a little bit of something a little different. I've pulled this out of one of my archives.
Okay.
Which of the following is a well-known work by the sculptor Selma Burke? Did she do the Lincoln Memorial, the profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, or Martin Luther King's memorial?
Do you know?
I do not, but I think he's throwing us a curveball. I think it's the first one.
And I think it's the second option.
And it is the second option.
Okay.
In my brain, it was in my brain somewhere. Here.
And the unique thing about it is her sculpture of his profile is the sculpture is the same profile on the dime.
On the dime. That's why.
Okay, look at you. Go ahead.
Yep.
My dime piece is.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
You have a very educated woman.
I do.
She's beautiful inside and out, and smart.
And
has a good job. So.
Next up, football season starts next week. So, what team drafted African-American player Bobby Mitchell in 1962 to become the last team to integrate?
Yeah, I know this one.
The last team. Was it my team?
Yes.
Yeah.
Allison
it was the
Seymour
then Washington Blankskins.
Yes, the Washington Racists. Well, that was the team.
That's they find a way, but that was when I found that out. For some reason I was thinking it was Baltimore, and then when I realized it was Washington, I was like, okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
On a side note, Carl, I found out something. I was like, that's interesting. The now of course my brain's not working, but so the NFL owners really are just that class. They were the wealthy, right? They were the wealthy oil barons and others who ran the world. Yes. And so I found out, I saw an article that was interesting. Kansas City's owner, I'm blank right now, who's a famous person.
Right. I know you're talking about.
And the grandfather was a famous person, a famous oil person. And it's interesting. Kansas City kind of has a good reputation, whereas the Redskins kind of have a bad reputation as far as ownership being racist. Kansas City doesn't have that same reputation because of the ownership. But the grandfather, come to find out, used to fund the Nation of Islam because he believed in separation of the races. So for years, he funded the Elijah Muhammad Nation of Islam. And also, you remember those conversations about the Klan having a relationship with the Nation of Islam? Yes, because separatists were in line with that. So he was one of the big funders of the Nation of Islam back in the 60s. And then it's interesting how in a generation, though, the reputation in a sense or the family changed. So, you know,
that's interesting because I know Cleveland was, you know, of course, was very, very, you know, Jim Brown and so forth. So they were, and a couple other teams in New York and so forth. But yeah, that surprised me that Washington. It didn't surprise me when I found out. I just expected it to be someone else. Yeah. And last but not least, going back a little history, Dory Miller, I'm sure you've heard of him, was the first African American to receive the Navy Cross of Valor for his bravery during what war? Now I figured you two would know that, so this is more for your audience.
Well, you know, so funny. I see him. I see the famous picture. I see the famous action, but actually, I'm blank on the war.
Oh,
don't judge me, Carl, with a K.
No, and I am too. Sadly, I don't readily know this history, but when you said "CU," I thought about World War II for some reason. The bell bottoms with the outfit, with the bell bottoms and the Navy. That's what I thought.
So, Carl, I know. Thank you for giving us credit for being brilliant, but we are not brilliant. What is
he was a cook who took over a battle gun at Pearl Harbor, World War II.
World War II, go babe. Her essence even knows when she don't even know her essence.
World War II. Carl, before we let you go, and we're talking about this today, which I hate to even talk about, but did you see the news that came out that one of these, what I'm assuming is a very far right-wing arm of the Republican Party, came out and basically said it's that the National Federation of Republican Assemblies, that they're pulling up the Dred Scott decision to say that Kamala Harris is not eligible to run for president because she's not a citizen, because in fact she is an enslaved person under the Constitution. Have you seen this?
No, I have not.
Yeah, so they cited the 1857 Dred Scott Supreme Court decision, which I'm pretty sure was overturned. So they didn't say that last part, but that stated that enslaved people weren't citizens, to argue that she is ineligible to run according to the Constitution.
So are we now all enslaved again?
That's what, and you know, it really, I've talked about this with people, and because it really upset me, even that she would be there, and thereby all of people of African descent in this country would be considered enslaved and really not citizens. And so it really struck me. It really bothered me. But people have been just like, "Don't, it's ridiculous," and you know. But had you heard that?
I have not heard about that yet. I will definitely look into it because, and it's always interesting because a lot of people get confused between the Plessy versus Ferguson and the Dred Scott decision and how those two are different.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
That would be so basically the whole NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball.
Yes.
So I guess we would be entitled to reparations now, wouldn't we?
Well, no, because you'd still be considered.
Oh, I'd still be enslaved, right?
You'd still be. Technically, as I said, the group says that it also is challenging those who have, I think, parents who weren't born in this country. So the same group is challenging the right of Vivek Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley to appear on the Republican primary ballots, because they're basically saying no person except a natural-born citizen shall be eligible, or a citizen of the United States at the time of adoption of the Constitution shall be eligible for the office of president. So they're just, I want to feel like when this came out, people were even people in the Trump campaign were like, "No, this is ridiculous." Well, that's what I want to hope. So,
and it's a group. It's not, it's
a group, but it's out in the world, and it stinks. It makes you feel like
it does.
Well, the fact that they get press, and maybe it might be because we got the internet. Because I do remember when they were trying to say it was like 3 black guys who were saying that they were in the Black Panther and there's the new Black Panther movement. but it was like 3 guys.
And they arrested. They got ended up getting arrested. I think that guy got arrested. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, great. We're gonna treat you like we treated the.
Anyway, just a little bit of history because it's a lot of it isn't pretty, but that is interesting and
very much so.
It's something making news, Carl.
One question for you, Allison. When you were at WTTG, did you know anybody in the traffic department?
Yeah, sure.
Did you know Carol also Brooks? Was she still there?
That name you would remember.
I would have remembered. I would have remembered that.
Well, the reason why I remembered her name is I worked with her at TTG, and I met Angela this past weekend at the Sigma Crab Feast.
Yeah.
I found out that was her aunt.
Oh, that's her aunt. Okay, got you. Now met a lot of beautiful people, but I don't know that I met her.
And so Carl, where are you going to be? Let people know if they want to join you tonight.
Okay, tonight, Arundel Mills, TGI Fridays. I'll be starting at 7, 3 games of 25 questions. So I'll be there till about 9:30. So we roll with a lot of fun. I have something I call a shots round question. So if you get that correct, I buy you whatever you're drinking.
All right.
And
nice.
We have we give out gift vouchers for our winners so they can take care of part of your check. And we have a lot of fun. Tonight's topic is last week I did 1990 up to 1990 with movies. So today we're doing 1990 to 2024.
All right.
All about the movies. So I got Low Down Dirty Shame to School Days. So it's a lot of fun.
That's our time.
I love it. Well, Carl, thank you so much
Carl.
again. And Carl, we have a okay. What's up? Nikki's checking in. So Carl, we're gonna good news. We're gonna have our first live show September 26th. And so it's a Thursday, and hopefully you'll be.
Oh, I can do that. I can do that.
Awesome.
Yeah, because they moved me from Thursdays to Tuesdays, so I can be joining you.
So you get a chance to see Carl with a K live, and our first live is going to be at the commentary out in Virginia. Oh, baby, got your phone? Good. You got your phone?
I have one. Yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to send you the link so you can put it on your Facebook page. So Carl, thank you so much, my friend.
Thanks, Carl.
All right, thank you. You guys
Carl with a K, ladies and gentlemen. So again, another exciting show. I just did a workaround, babe. So I'm gonna send that to you.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna send this to you.
We're having, if you didn't know, Mark's Facebook got not hacked, it got
I got duped.
Taken over.
Okay, I got duped, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I'm not that smart, but I'm just gonna say I helped somebody, I gave someone access to my Facebook and they
don't ever do that.
And they then
P.S.
hopped in there. I don't know which number. I'm gonna see this one, babe.
202.
This is this the one? I just sent it to you. This is not.
Okay, 202 number. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us, the people who are with us now. And we had some issues.
We got a great show today. Okay, I just sent it to both your phones now.
Alrighty.
And then if you can copy that and put it on your Facebook page. So excited because again, you know how it is, and this is how the challenges of life, how it does, right? I worked on the show, got everything lined up, and
I'm just hoping everything's okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, let's go on with the show for the 2 people in the room. They deserve.
Yeah, we'll go ahead.
They deserve it.
Can you go ahead and do that?
Okay, so this is now.
Yeah, just copy that and put it on your page. So. So good news. Wendy Williams fans have a reason to celebrate. She was spotted in public for the first time in over a year. Allegedly, the sighting occurred on August 19th. She visited a store in New Jersey and posed for a photograph with the owner. According to page 6, she was sharp, upbeat, and aware, even bubbly. She apparently was looking for holistic products. The store owner said her son, Kevin Hunter Jr., was there explaining some of the products to her.
Okay, we're saying it's Dr. Sebi's son.
Well,
it's a shop, right?
I wasn't sure about that. If that's the case, there's a picture of her and the case, and so
you can tell by the Birkenstocks.
His toes
and the picture on his shirt.
His toes indicate that's what that is.
I just want to know what is in that store. I just feel like I just feel like if I just walked into that store, like the toxins would just flush out of my system. But doesn't Wendy look good?
It's crazy.
Right. To which I'm trying to understand, like, what's the real story here? Yeah. Is she, because basically she had that same type of dementia that like Bruce Willis has. And I didn't think that was necessarily reversible.
Well, they say the son was explaining to her what the products do.
Okay.
And things like that. So, maybe there's some,
Give it up for Kevin Jr. I was so happy to see her. I was so happy to see her looking more like herself. And, I was just happy to see it. I'm hoping that somehow she's better.
Yes.
Because that whole docuseries and the whole thing, it was really disturbing to see that.
Definitely was. So, okay, babe, you want to hop into our relationship stuff first, or you want to hop into the relationship stuff with Cam Newton and Dr. Cheyenne?
So let's go with Cam, and then we'll go to ours.
Okay, so I'm going to have my observation. I've been watching. There's a whole new dynamic where
keying out like this.
What happened?
I said, why am I keying out like this? Maybe I can't wear black. Okay, go ahead.
This what's happening is, which I think is a good thing and also a interesting thing, how it's going to affect, or how it affects our world as far as people who are doing broadcasts now. A lot of them are former professional athletes.
Okay.
And what we're seeing is now, because these guys many of them are millionaires and wealthy, they're rich guys. And you're starting to see that the lifestyle of the rich and wealthy is different than the average guy.
Yeah.
But I think
it's
having an effect, though, I think because of social media, it's having an effect on the conversation around relationships, because a lot of the moves, which you really realize, and I think you know how you know something, but you never really think about it. When you hear these guys talking about their relationships, even it kind of seems like a lot of times the merry-go-round of kind of the same kind of like supermodel influencers that kind of date these guys. They're, hearing their perspective makes you go, okay, I get it. He's like, number one, they know how to date. They know how to date these guys, how to keep their name out of the streets and things like this. So it kind of creates a loop of that. Okay. But the part two of it is how simply dating them can change your life.
You're talking about the women who date famous men.
I'm talking about the women who date famous men, but I'm also talking about the fact that they are 20-plus-year-old millionaires. Simply dating them can change their young lady's life.
Okay.
So it goes from like a normal, you can't, there's no comparison.
Okay.
I'm going to go grab a cup of coffee. This guy can actually, you start dating him, he's now paying for your mama house and your house.
Yeah.
And can fly you all over the world.
Okay.
So the dynamics are different. So anyway, a lot of these people have a lot of relationships going on. So I don't know if this was smart. So Cam Newton invited a psychiatrist into his camp, and he has 8 kids by 3 different women.
Okay.
I think he was thinking he could probably out-talk the scenario or justify it. And instead, he kind of got handled. But I respect the fact that he had the courage to do it. They had the conversation.
Okay.
So we have the video. So sit back and enjoy.
People see my situation and not think that I'm not high functioning.
What situation?
See my situation? That's a very vague question, and it's for you
what
to...
What situation are you referring to that they're looking at and thinking is not high functioning?
Just my life.
Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
My life.
See, don't deflect. Let's stay here. And they think that you're low functioning.
No, I don't.
You just said people see your life and think you're not high functioning. The opposite of that would be low functioning.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
by how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now.
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I just want God
about your wife?
Him. I just want God to bring him.
Oh, okay. And you have, so you just.
Because my point is this. My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Brian, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time. Drinking and driving is a decision that could change your whole world.
sorry,
You can
guys.
face a life-altering injury or
How you like that
potentially
so
death.
I don't
Your
understand
decision
it. It's coming
to
off,
drink and drive could permanently change someone else's world, whether you injure them or leave their loved ones grieving. The next time you're out drinking, call a rideshare,
My desire to
taxi,
get married
a
is
sober
lower.
friend, or a
Higher
designated
than my
sober
desire-
driver.
what is
The
that?
only decision that will change your world for the better is the decision
I
to
don't know what
call
you're
a
Yeah, we
sober
don't know.
driver.
So
Drive
that's
sober or
unserious.
get pulled over.
Maybe
Paid
that's-
for
it's
by
giving
NHTSA.
unserious. Yeah.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, and disclaimer, the kids are innocent, they are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies, because I can't wait to be a mom, and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all, will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. So at what point do you feel the fear, do it anyways? And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I am going to create these homes. Let me go better. I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody who you're spending your life with. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and it's selfish.
Just tell me when I can solve.
Yeah, almost. That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. It's unhealthy. And it's a huge dysfunction within our Black community that I truly believe personally, statistically, mental health wise, and community wise, that Black men would stop.
Black men with what?
Stop doing that, that they would stop that dysfunctional behavior of compartmentalizing and creating houses, not homes, and then finally a home with the wife. And then you have all these other houses that are homeless, but you over here at some point when you do get a wife, if you do, I'm saying if that's what you want, you will, you'll get whatever you want. You're trying to create a home. Totally dysfunctional and extremely, that's the epitome of selfish. Epitome of selfish.
All right. A lot to unpack there.
Yeah.
Do you think he regretted having her on?
No, I think that whatever he's going to say next, he's going to believe that money is going to
kids,
make it
the
right.
kids stay with him, so that was
The kids stay with him without their mom. It just
yeah. So she said, like you said,
I think
the opposite.
yeah.
Okay, so that's great, but I just wanted to let you know what she's
Yeah.
after.
Well, I think that I think that basically he probably regretted. There was that moment, he's sitting there with this whole look, and I would think if somebody came on there and studied his body language with his foot going and his posture, that it was an uncomfortable come to Jesus situation that he regretted initiating. And here's the thing. So him, and I know we were talking about Nick Cannon too. Nick Cannon has a lot of kids too, and I think there's this sort of desire to leave your mark on the world through having all these different kids, right? And I've not spoken on it in just general terms, because I feel like, who am I to speak on their choices? And these are real people. But if I'm honest, I definitely do agree with what the therapist is saying there, because I don't care how much money it is. Like, I would think that to have a child in a home where you had these two loving parents, if you could do it, like, I get it. Some, in your situation, like, your parents weren't together, so you were raised in a loving environment. I understand that kids can continue to thrive in that environment. But when you go into it knowing, well, I'm not going to be with this mother, but like he said, God will, I want more. No, bro, this is like the price of admission for this is when you at least try to create a healthy 2-parent home. Do you know what I'm saying? Right now, and the reason why I hesitate to say this is because for all the people who are not in that situation, it's not me commenting on your life or what the home is, but I'm talking about people. Blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about people who will, like Cam, like Nick Cannon, who willingly just are like, yeah, they want to have many kids. It doesn't matter with whom, and I'm going to be able to take care of them. So there's something about, I bet if you asked a kid, would you rather have daddy in the house in any way, and these 2 parents together versus an unlimited lifestyle of riches? Mm-hmm. I bet that kid would want to have both of his parents in the home. And so, yeah, I agree with the therapist there. And I know that she's probably going to get backlash because she's speaking on it, but that's just how I feel at the end of the day. If you can, like, to go into it willing and knowing you have no intention of being with this woman, but they're even the whole thing that they're going to live with me, that to me is, there's something wrong with that. Like, I'm just going to make all these kids and they're going to live with me, so they're going to be fine. No, like, for me, it's giving immature, it's giving selfish, and it's just like, these are the things that I want without doing the other part that comes with that. So that's how I feel about it. I don't know, but I have in the past always hesitated from commenting on it, but seeing her break it down like that, and in this space, I gotta say, just to have kids, and then especially you're going to keep them they're going to come live with me. It's almost like you're treating these women like they're, baby factories. Yeah. That's what it's giving to me.
And ironically,
and he seems unserious. That's what he seems like.
Ironically,
that's my opinion.
What's going on, Ronald Truth Hunt?
Yes.
Which the irony is, what she went on to say was, she was that her mother was an addict, her dad who had multiple families, but she's a daddy's girl. So she's saying, just because you come from it doesn't mean you can't have an amazing life. But the reality was, like you said, daddy not being in home is a big factor, even though he's my friend and he's a great dad. I feel like if you can't do it
in this situation, because you started off by saying, basically, do these very high paid very public people have a different reality? And they have a different reality in that they are willingly going into this situation knowing they have no intention of marrying, not even marrying. I mean, look, does everybody have to get married? Okay, no, but with no intention of trying to make a relationship work here. And I think that does a disservice to the child. I do.
And so I put down in my notes, ironically, the late Kevin Samuels created this high value man conversation. What I like what she did was she talking about a high functioning person, and she broke down the high functioning person versus the high value person. Value obviously meaning you have money.
Whose show was that? Hers or his?
That's his
so show. He invited her on.
Yeah, to get destroyed. And then Nick Cannon did the same. So
yeah,
we didn't do Nick Cannon only because his Cam's, I thought that she had full explanation. I think that benefits us all to hear the breakdown.
Here's the thing, and I guess what? If that was on a public forum, they're going to come for her. They're going to come for her.
Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's actually they're actually, it's pretty evenly matched.
That's good. I'm glad, because it's almost like it always is surprising to me how much it seems like women are hated a lot.
Well, she was breaking down. I thought
she was brave to do that.
She was breaking it down, the dynamic that I think really did need to be broken down. Because again, I think the high value man, this conversation people have now, brothers making $45,000 now think they have, but anyway, high value man conversation. He was basically, Cam was saying something that I've seen definitely not true. And our relationship is a prime example of it. He was saying that no high value woman will deal with a man who's not a high value man. And that's not true. She pointed out that, in fact, most of the time, a high functioning man, regardless of value, can find a woman. And in fact, the numbers show that most high functioning men are with high value, high functioning women.
Well, explain high functioning.
High functioning basically is emotional intelligence is high.
Okay.
So there's somebody who knows who they are, somebody who's solid, somebody who's high character, somebody, and because that does nowadays, that gets thrown away. And you see, that's what I'm saying with young people. See, young people, guys, I'm a high value man. I mean, high value, if you have a low, well, if your functionability is low, then what are we talking about?
What are we talking
You
about?
know, and so I thought that was a good conversation. And
I'm glad people are not just whatever, because at the end of the day, if I'm speaking openly and honestly, if you go in willing, if you create all these different homes with all these different kids in, and you kind of pop in and you pop out, you're not trying.
And so, as married people,
normal people don't do that. That is like I guess normal people maybe do it,
but it's different.
Yeah, it's different
because you can't afford to do it.
You can't afford to do it.
And so, speaking of relationships, we had a great, I think, revelation or situation happen kind of like 2 nights in a row in regard to communication in the family.
Right.
And I think we wanted to talk about it, right?
Right. So, it's so funny. We've talked about this before. We think we've cracked the code. We've cracked the communications code. We're still working on it though. So weigh in on this one. It's like, for me, I try so much to not be a judgmental mother and wife and all of that. But even when you try to do that, sometimes this face, it betrays me. And so I might be saying, that does look good. Like if you did the yard, but maybe you didn't, you just mowed it and like the weeds are still there and it's not really right. So you might have spent all day in the yard just mowing the grass, but maybe didn't put like the finishing touches on it. So when I come out after like 2 hours and and then I look like this, you're concentrating on my face. You're waiting. Oh, hey, you don't like it. I can see it in your face. You don't like it. And I don't even know that my face is doing that, though I am appreciative. So we had one of those moments and it was like a full blow up. Mark got mad, y'all. He was snapperlicious about it. And I was just like, what do you want me to do? No. And so you said, I would rather you just say, I don't like how you did this because it betrays you anyway. And in that moment, I felt like, I just got to go to TJ Maxx. I got to get out of this house for a second because I felt like there was nothing really that I could do because I was trying not to be judgmental, stay in a space of gratitude, which I was, but something wasn't done the way that I would have done it. And that's the thing, y'all. It's like 2 different people. And sometimes you expect things to be done the way that you want something to be clean the way you want it to be done. You want something to whatever, and it's not the same. So how do you get to that? And what you said was you would just prefer that I said I don't like it. And but that's who I've tried really not to be because I appreciate what you have done. In this case, basically, because I know it's hard to follow. In this case, we have a sectional in our basement. And I sent Mark a picture of how it's supposed to be because we had taken it apart. And when I saw it, it wasn't put back in the shape and the style that I wanted it to be. And you were like, well, the pieces aren't all there. So we were having basically 2 different conversations. And the same thing happened with one of our daughters. Yeah. We were in a discussion and she was talking about, we were having a parallel conversation. Yes. So in that regard, we were never going to see eye to eye because we were going like this, and feelings get hurt and emotions get elevated and all of that. So what do you do? So it was some breakthroughs. And so the takeaway, you said, well, just do it how you want to do it later and don't say nothing. That's basically what you said, right?
Well, no, I was saying that's my
which it again doesn't sound that healthy.
Well, no, that's my technique. That would be my technique. So what I'm saying is,
to come down and be like, okay, babe, this looks great, thank you.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that either.
Just don't say anything.
I just be like, okay, You know, I guess what I'm saying is, so
I think it's a no-win situation. I think this is what I think. In relationships, sometimes because we're two adults who have two different eyes and want things done differently.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just, you just have to take the L.
Actually,
That's what I
so
think.
no, and to be more clear about what I'm saying, what I said was actually that you're right. We're all different, right?
Yeah.
We're all different. And so how we do stuff is just different. So I just said, just go ahead and say it, because you have real expectations on certain things that I don't have. You know what I mean?
That's the difference.
And that's the difference. And so that's why I said, go ahead and say it, because I really don't care as much as you do about blank. You know what I mean?
But you care about my reaction.
I care about the reaction only because I was given an order with specific things.
Okay.
And so that's what it was. It was like you gave me a picture of the specific thing that was not exactly what that was. And so I was like I looked at, because again, I don't know what you.
Again, this is putting together some furniture.
And and that's the part, the expectation of people. One of my coping mechanisms is, I think, I always acquiesce, and my expectations I push to the side. So therefore, it can create that dynamic. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, I think, being raised how I was with a hypercritical mother, I think one of my coping mechanisms was I acquiesced all that. Because when you ask me, right, if you ask me what I want, I rarely say, I want this. And I think that's probably a bad habit that I picked up over the years, from a standpoint of, so therefore, there are very few things when I'm like, I want this, like this. In fact, I don't think I've ever said that to the kids, except if it's something like, say, cleaning up or something like that. But in relationships, that's what it is. It's managing all those things.
So at the end of the day, to make it plain for folks, because I think it gets all, but to make it plain, if you have done something and it wasn't necessarily, and I've asked you to do something and it didn't come out exactly like I wanted it done, but so what is the answer? What is the best thing?
Say it. Just say it. Go ahead and say it. Hey, let's do it this way. I want it this way. I wanted it this way.
Okay.
I wanted it this way.
And for me, that comes off like,
it doesn't. It's okay. It's okay. Because that's when I'm used to it. You can do that. It's okay, because that's what it is. If you don't do it that way, then I don't know. Like, I can tell you're not happy, but you're not expressing it.
Yeah.
So that's what probably triggered me. Mm-hmm. I was just chilling, like do, and I saw, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's what kind of like, as opposed to, oh no, this isn't what I wanted to do. Okay.
So here's the kicker. So married for this next year, it'll be 25 years.
25 years. Still
working it out.
And that's the thing about it. It is, and I love the fact that you're willing to work it out, because some people, at this point, they feel like it doesn't matter. It always matters. It's like we're going back with our daughter, and she taps out when things get kind of whatever.
Lady.
She'll tap out. And for me, the tap out, that's more frustrating to me than anything. You'll be like, all right, you go ahead and keep moving. But for me, as you know, that drives me crazy. Yeah. When you do the tap out, let's see, what's what I say? How do you express to someone that never listens to you? Yes. Well, now that's
how do you express to someone that never listens to you?
Yeah.
And always thinks that they're right.
Yeah.
And then but you said, Ronald, but then you said they're always wrong. So okay, I think that goes both ways as far as how is somebody always wrong and you're always right. Well, I think it's a compromise, and I think that at a certain point, like we employed the phrase "let's agree to disagree," because just sometimes you just have different different sensibilities, and different things matter to you.
Yes.
But that to say that other person is never right, or that they're always wrong, which is what I'm trying to say, the opposite, right? I'm not sure that I'm not really sure that that's coming from a real healthy place either. So with all due love and respect to you. So.
Yeah. And I think, Ron, it's almost like it is interesting when what hill people choose to die on. It's interesting what, like this week, we had our daughter first, and then Allison and I got into our thing. And it is interesting what we choose to hold on to and get really mad about, or really after trying to. Yes. So what you're saying, right? Exactly, Ronald.
Yeah,
so
it's a compromise.
It's almost like when, especially like if it's a cycle, it's kind of happened before. It's almost like that moment when things are starting to get hectic. you might have to tap out and revisit, you know, when emotions are getting involved and people, because you're right, people at some point, nobody's really listening, or one person could be listening and the other person is not listening. I think once it gets to the point where somebody's not listening, maybe it is better to just tap out, you know,
but it makes for discourse in the house. I think that if there's a time to say, okay, this is how I feel, this is how you feel, and we look at things differently. But you know, there's still love. I think that there's a way, because for me, I can't, like, I'm gonna have an attitude. I'm gonna have an attitude because, in that situation, what I chose to do, which I rarely ever do, is just take myself out of the situation, because at that point I was feeling like, well, damn, I can't really do anything right in this house. Like, we got some sensitive folks that I'm walking around on eggshells in this house, and I need to get away from this house for a second. So get out, really think about what's important, what's the big picture here, and am I able to come to some sort of middle ground and compromise? So that's what I had to do. And Ronald, I hope that you can work it out. So
speaking of relationship, Keith Lee, the food critic, hit the DMV. Keith Lee been giving out money while in the DMV to the tune of $30,000.
Amazing.
Let me say this.
Okay, wait, stop. For those of you who don't know, Keith Lee is a very influential social media person, big on TikTok, and he goes to different cities, and basically he's a food critic in different cities. He'll try the food, like his family will go and get the food. They don't know it's him because he's getting really popular. And then he'll do a review on TikTok, and some of these, it's called the Keith Lee effect. Some of these businesses blow all the way up, struggling businesses, mom and pop businesses. So he makes a visit to the DMV, and man, it didn't really go the way we had hoped.
Well, and you know what? Ronald had another comment. So we go to Ronald to wrap up this segment.
Okay.
And then we'll hop in. So Ronald said, right, because they're going to pick apart it. Walk away, they come in the room and start. Yes. Right, Ronald, let me tell you something I did.
Walk away, they come in the room. Yeah.
This is something I don't know if you want to try. I haven't tried. I don't do it with Allison. But one time I read somewhere, I was working at a station in Alabama, and I read this article. I had a coworker who, every time I was on the air, he would come in and start arguing. Like the issue we needed to talk about when we're off the air, he would come in knowing I'm preoccupied and start arguing. And I just happened to, I was 21 years old. I happened to read an article that said, never argue on another person's time. So when he came in that day, I said, I said, I can't talk right now. I'll talk to you after the show. And it was so powerful. Because number one, gave me time to get my thoughts together. Number two, let me think about it and not be ambushed. So if that happens, I think that's, honey, I don't talk about it right now. I'm not going to talk about it right now. Let's talk about it tomorrow at noon or whatever. Give it a break. Everybody calms down. The emotions aren't as involved, and it might be a better thing. So back to Babe was saying, Keith Lee comes. Now, to be honest, the Keith Lee effect, we were seeing kind of the negative I was seeing the negative kind of comments of people like, well, who does he think he is? But I realized in watching these videos you're going to see, he's giving out money and raising profiles. And Dukum Ethiopian Restaurant asked him to come, and he actually did do that. So this was a post. He was getting, like Babe said, some negative conversations about the DMV. So this is what he posted to respond to that.
And I'm not the target audience just based on the pictures.
I'm going to start it again.
The reason there's no food in my hand is because a lot of the restaurants we've been recommended since we've been here look like this. And I'm not the target audience just based on the pictures.
I do have a question. Do you guys have running water?
I ain't got no point to lie. We just out here eating food, praying, staying with our families, minding our business. We also went to a lot of places that were recommended. That's one thing that I really want to make clear in this video, is that we went to places that were recommended and we did a lot of research. We've been here for a week, and every day since we've been here, we've been in a Sprinter for at least 10 hours a day. Just going around trying food, driving an hour to each spot. And since we've been here, we've been blessed enough to sow $30,000 to various restaurants around the DMV. So I don't appreciate it, and I don't think it's fair that we getting criticized for not doing research or not going to a lot of restaurants in DC or the DMV area. I've noticed how the media has been pushing since we've been here. A lot of media outlets picked up on the fact that I said restaurants out here, in my opinion, tend to lean towards promoting alcohol more than they promote food. That's been headlines more than us being in an actual city and being blessed enough to touch the people that we touch. We ran into a lot of people that was extremely nice. We even went to a comedy show randomly, but that's another reason why I'm keeping most of those videos, to protect the restaurant owners, because it's not going to be constructive and it's just going to be them getting tore down, and I don't want that. Past those 12 videos, I still got about 6 or 7, and I'm going to be releasing those throughout the next couple of days. I appreciate y'all. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Y'all be safe.
Okay, well, so basically, because, you know, it takes a while to get, if you're not used to his videos, takes a second to get used to the way he speaks. For me, the cadence, I was just trying to, you know, but this is TikTok. This is the TikTok world, baby. It moves, right? So one of the restaurants that he went to, people recognize. So basically, in a nutshell, if just getting you caught up, if you're not familiar with who he is and what he does, came to the DMV, going to restaurants that people suggested that he goes to. A lot of these places are going to be almost, you saw like the carry out type places and that kind of thing. But one of the restaurants, people could recognize which one it was, and they actually responded. So the restaurant, because they responded, was Oohs and Ahs. We have been to the one on Georgia Avenue in Northwest DC, and the food, whatever, he criticized it without saying the name of the restaurant, but he did criticize it, and they actually responded, and they were like, well, if you know, for a regular guest, we would, if you weren't satisfied, we would have made it right, and this and that, because they also talked about the customer service experience. So, you know, people know their restaurants, and DC is big, but it's not that big, like, especially if you're going to local joints, and people going to notice. And so people did recognize, and that was one of the restaurants where he said that it just wasn't up to par. So, but it is interesting. Would you rather that he comes, should he have not said anything? We wouldn't have known if he went to 12 restaurants or not. Do you know what I'm saying? So he could have come to the area, profile the food that he liked or that he was willing to profile, that he was still going to give money to, whatever the Keithley effect. But instead, like, in your opinion, should he have said, we went to basically 12 places, I'm only posting like 3, because the rest of them, basically, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say it at all. But it's out there that DC isn't maybe the foodie spot that we had hoped. Well, so what do you think about him even saying, I went to these other places, but I'm not going to post it?
Well, I think you got to keep it real. I think, you know, that's the thing. I think nowadays, I was just thinking about that. We are in that world now. We're in that world now where traditional platforms, it used to be, you went to, you know, whatever. It wasn't a thing. Now, you as a restaurant, a critique on YouTube, Facebook, any of these platforms, or by one of these people, can bring you up or bring you down. And so you got to bring your game up. So
should he have said that he went to 12 restaurants and he's only 6. Posting?
Sure.
Should he have said that?
Yeah.
Because the rest weren't good enough, or
I think so.
They were one place he said was inedible.
Yeah, they didn't have running water. I don't know if the microphone you couldn't hear, but they didn't have running water, so it's like you can not have running water.
So you agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, and here's the thing.
One of the restaurants he also pays for people. So the Jerk at Night place, which I have heard is really good. I don't know what part of the DMV it's in. There was a line around the corner because he was paying for all the food, and it's really delicious. So the places that he liked, he put on and he liked, and he gave real.
Yeah,
critiques.
well, and this is one in Baltimore. And I think that's why I say, if you have not seen him or seen him do his thing, watching this made me a believer and seeing what he does. And I understand the backlash. Nobody likes to be criticized, but let's keep it real. Black-owned restaurants, a lot of times, Black-owned businesses, we don't like it, but a lot of times we're not ready, okay? We got to get ready. We got to get our asses ready, because if you ain't ready nowadays, it's a different world. You can't hide out anymore. Some of my favorite places when I worked in St. Louis, and all the cities I worked in, had the worst customer service and took forever to get the food done. And that's a fact. The better the food, the worse everything else. And that's something that's not no secret, but we don't like to talk about it because it's like family. But this is, if you've never seen him do his thing, this was like.
Me and my family are in Baltimore, Maryland. I got it. Let's try it. And rated 1 to 10. We spent $115.82. My family gave the customer service a 10 out of 10. They said not only did the owner completely break down the menu, but she offered a bunch of free samples of the house-made drinks that they make. And she was just extremely nice. So I'm excited. I'm going to show you everything I got, and we're going to try it and rate it 1 to 10. Truffle fries and aioli, Brussels sprouts, Tenorio tinfish, which is a tuna from Portugal. It also comes with a bread. I have rotisserie chicken, LIB wings, which are curry fennel sauce tossed wings, and a broken down duck kofi gumbo. I say broken down in the terms of deconstructed because this is the roux, this is the greens, and this is the kofi potatoes with the duck. And last but not least, pineapple lemonade. We're going to start with the half roasted chicken. You can see it's dripping. This is a half roasted chicken brushed with preserved lemon, garlic, and herb oil. We're gonna go no sauce first. This tastes like the butteriest lemon, garlic. I don't know what ALE this is, but this tastes fantastic. 9.2 out of 10, real high.
The skin alone. Oh yeah, 9.5.
Next up, we got the truffle fries. They are seasoned well and they do taste hand cut, but they take out, so they didn't really hold up. In the restaurant, I can see these being extremely high, so I'm gonna rate them extremely high as if I got these in a restaurant. 8.5 out of 10. In a box like that though, they're like a 7. Next, we're gonna do the wing. This is a curry toasted fennel wing with spicy pepper sauce over house-made ranch.
Ooh, not the crunch.
Ooh, yep. It's spicy, but the curry is robust in flavor. The curry is very earthy. It's a little sweet too. You get the sweetness from the peppers, but then you get the spice. It hit my lips, like my lips are tingling.
You get rotisserie.
This ranch is very deal forward. I give this an 8 out of 10. For sure. This is a pineapple lemonade. Boy, this type of stuff get me in trouble. I'll drink this whole lemonade. Next up is the Brussels sprouts. Not everybody mess with Brussels sprouts, but I do. It's simple and straight to the point, and so am I. 7.9 out of 10. This is a duck confit gumbo. That's how I like my roux. I like my roux to be nice and brown. I'm sure there's a presentation inside the restaurant, but this will be my presentation.
In Baltimore. You know this place on Holland Street?
No, I do not. Do now. Like I said, that's the power of nowadays.
Sneak a little bit.
The Railroad Museum.
I know that is.
Them greens by themselves is a 9 for sure. I got a potato with some duck, the greens, and a roux. This is insane. I love gumbo, and this is such a unique take on it. At least unique to me, because I've never had anything like this before. The duck is cooked to perfection, in my opinion. It's seasoned extremely well. It's not very fatty. It's not gamey. The roux is seasoned to... these potatoes are crispy and seasoned. This whole thing has flavor throughout from the beginning to the end. And in my opinion, they balance extremely well. 9.6 out of 10. Overall, especially for this to be carry out up here. I'm going on a limb. It's one of my favorite restaurants I had in a while. And I'm happy we came. Thank you for the invite from the bottom of my heart. And as always, after this, I pray and hope.
I want to interrupt what y'all got going on. No worries, man. Very nice to meet you. Likewise. We ate already. Oh, you ate already?
Oh, you ate here? Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Well, I think we got like 8 things.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Insane.
Oh, man. I appreciate that.
No promises. Yeah. It might be crazy.
Oh, wow, man. Wow.
I need one of them.
That they reach their target audience. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Y'all be safe.
All right.
So that's the experience, and
that's how it goes well. It's in and that place is called Rooted Rotisserie, Black-owned restaurant in Southwest Baltimore. So good luck getting a table now. That's all I have to say. Yeah, when it goes well, it goes well. For me, I just yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. You got to be ready. I hate the fact though that DC that's going to be the experience now.
Well, the half's not bad. You say you got 6 out of 12. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Not bad.
Thank you, Keith Lee, for visiting.
Yeah, and I think it's definitely a phenomenon, and everybody's doing it now. It is interesting.
So the term that we grew up with, everybody's a critic. Yeah, everybody is a critic.
Everybody's a critic now.
Yeah, now everybody's a critic.
And now,
he's carved a niche for himself.
Yeah.
I think it's we're definitely in a different space, and I like it. And he's open to all kinds of different food. Because for me, like, I wouldn't be able to tell you if the duck was good or not, because I've never had duck in my life.
Right. And I think that's also kind of figuring it out. Yeah. Like, maybe if you're just doing simple wings, or if you're doing simple whatever you're doing, and I think it is a great reminder for all business and for our lives, right? At the end of the day, you can't just be average, mediocre, and then expect people to praise you. You got to bring it.
It reminds me of, thank you, Ronald, I want to thank you, Ronald, for being so engaged today, because if you're joining us late, we don't have our typical audience because we're having some issues with Facebook. So yeah, I feel like we're having a nice conversation with the folks who are on here today, and we really do appreciate it. And what you said is right. And I think it is, it's hard for me to admit because I'm so very pro-Black.
Yeah.
I'm so very pro-Black
yes.
that it's hard to say that, there's no excuse for some of the things that go on in our HBCUs.
Yes.
In this day, there's no excuse for the restaurants and all of that.
Give Mama a cold compress, please.
Yeah. It's hard for me.
Baby riding. It's hard for baby to come.
You know why it's hard for me? And I'm not making excuses, but I know too much about history to just be like, okay, it ain't up to par. When we've created such a big space, I don't know how to, when we've created such a big space for ourselves in spite of it all. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I come from that historic perspective on that. And so I feel like, and I've said it before, when you got Harvard, the oldest university in the country, and started in the 1600s, and then is it Cheney or Wilberforce? I always get it confused. Started like 200 years later. So you're playing catch up. I'm not really going to be like, well, it should be this way because of what it is, because it's still playing catch up. But I get it, Ronald, and I understand that if you spend your money, it should be a different experience. So, and
all we have to do is, when you talk about restaurants, and one thing that's what I say, what I love about you is you know what you want.
Thank you, Ronald.
Knowing what you want. Big Mama and them, that generation, that chicken's gonna be fried right every time.
Yeah, but you might not get the most, you might have to settle for now what you want, baby. Now what you want. And we found love in that because we get it, that you're trying to stay afloat sometimes. And I think about just that whole experience. But being kind costs nothing. And a lot of the things that he's talking about is not good customer service and all that. And in this day and age, you can be put on blast.
And it's competition too. Nowadays, competition is different too.
Yeah.
Everybody frying chicken now. So what you gonna do now?
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna close this conversation out with this. There used to be a Trinidadian food spot that I used to go to all the time in Northwest DC near Howard University. And that food was bussin'. If you know what that is. Oh my God, it's delicious. Would go there for my rotis all the time, right? And plantain and all that good stuff. But when you went, it was going to be in the line, and the accents were thick, but it didn't matter, what you want? And you just, I want. It's like going to Aldi's and trying to check out when they're doing a thing. I want cabbage and corn and chicken. That's we don't have that or whatever it is, right? And so, yes, it's stressful. But when I leave, it's a part of what it is. And that's how it is. And it's just like shopping at Aldi's, which I will do. So, yeah.
In St. Louis,
it's what you do. But I will say this. This is the last thing, because this restaurant is not open anymore, and I miss you very much, Rita's restaurant. Is I went in one time with one of my photographers. We were on break, and I had prepped my photographer. Okay, this food is worth it. It's delicious. Now they're gonna be rude, and you're gonna have to order fast, and there are gonna be people behind you, and then you're gonna get this.
Yeah.
And it's calling in the back, and you're just like, they're talking about me. When I went in with my man, love him, Carlos Gonzalez, from Cuba. And if you think of the most chilled out, laid back, smooth talking, give you that smile, schmoozer, flip it in Spanish, and the girls go, that's Carlos. We went in, they were so nice to him. And he said, now explain what this is. And they were like, okay. And I was just like, what? So it's a bit subjective. But yeah, the food was good. But you just knew what to expect. So yeah, it's all different. Thank you, Keith Lee, for coming to the DMV. And as a part of the media, I hope that you didn't think that we were negative. We were so excited for him to come. Yeah. We were so excited.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next Wednesday. And don't forget, our first live show is going to be at the Commentary September 26th. There'll be flyers and stuff coming up. We'll tell you more about it as it gets closer. Have a great one. We'll see you soon.
Did you have an Ask Allison?
No, baby, we're over an hour. It's time.
Oh, it is over an hour?
It's time to go, baby.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see you
Love
next
y'all.
week.